This is Daniel Phone for HD Boxing Repeat. It's a pleasure to be joined via Zoom by Liam Davies ahead of his British title fight in just over a week's time, 2 weeks. Liam, how are you, mate? Thanks for giving us a bit of your time.
Nah, it's my pleasure. I'm all good. Just counting down the days now, 9 days to go. So it's just ticking away, waiting to get in. Itchy knuckles now.
That's what sort of wondering. We're very close to that fight. What does camp look like? Like sort of 10 days, a week or two before a fight? You winding down now? Is there still any light sparring going on?
So I done my last 12-round spar today. Got my sparring done. So that's all complete now. Feeling good and ready to rock and roll.
Just sort of keeping the weight sort of ticking over.
That's it now, yeah. Just now is the last hard one today. And now it's just about tapering down, keeping the body active and ready for the big night.
So we'll come on to your opponent, Marc Leach, and the sort of more technical stuff soon. But I wanted to touch on first just sort of the occasion, British title, the Lonsdale belt. You speak to any young sort of British fighter coming up, it's the belt they all want to win. It's arguably the sort of most visually appealing belt in boxing. I just want to, what are your sort of earliest memories of, sort of big fights that we saw for that British belt? And has that always been a dream of yours to fight for and obviously go on to win the British?
Yeah. It's I can't think off the top of my head any memorable fights for it, but it's something when I was a young lad. I was sorry about
that. All right, mate, go ahead.
As a young lad, I was told by my dad and my grandfather that I would win a British title. So as I grew up, I grew more knowledgeable what it is, and it's a major bout, like you said, and it's one that I want to win desperately, and I'm more than confident that I will win it come 11th of June.
You talked about the sort of family connections, and boxing's been a family thing for you. I remember after you won the English title against Sean Cairns, you mentioned how much it meant. I think your grandfather, sadly no longer with us, you obviously trained by your father, Tristan. Would it be just sort of a momentous occasion for the whole family? I remember you said you were bringing the English title, your grandfather's grave, but does this sort of British fight just feel like on a whole new level for you and your family?
Yeah, of course it is. It's more prestige belt. It's about that every, like you say, up and coming British fighter wants to win, and it puts you a good ranking. You see people who have gone from British titles and jumped to world titles because they get that much of a good ranking from it. I'm not saying that's going to happen with me, but it just shows the kind of level the British title brings you to. So I'm looking to win it, and hopefully I can win it outright. Defend it, or more opportunities do come my way, like a European or a world title.
I know you obviously won't be looking past Marc Leach on Saturday, but you touched on maybe wanting to defend and win outright the British title. Is that sort of like, I know you're, again, I'll reiterate, not looking past Marc Leach, but it's sort of like a dilemma that fighters who win the British face is like, do I sort of go on and I want to win this belt outright and be able to keep hold of it? But there's then that side that like, there's bigger fights beyond that level to sort of secure me and my family's future. Is that sort of a decision you have to wrangle with almost?
Yeah, it's all about Saturday night and winning it. That's all my focus is on at the minute. Whatever comes after will come after the night and a few weeks down the line, but it's opportunities that you want and need and to progress, and that's what I'm looking for. I'll win this, and I know bigger opportunities will come my way. So it's just about winning it, hometown as well, winning it and keeping it in my hometown, bringing big shows back to my hometown and showing the young lads coming up that box in Telford what they can do if they put hard work and dedication to the sport.
Yeah, as you say, you're the home fighter in there on Saturday night. All of Telford will be behind you, I'm sure. You've boxed in Telford before, and I think it's fair to say not on a stage like this, top of the bill for a British title. Has that been an added sense of pressure in any sort of way for you coming into the fight next week?
No pressure, because I believe that what's meant to be will be, and this is where my career's brought me to. I've put the hard work in, and I'm not going to look at it as pressure. I'm just going to soak it up and enjoy it because it's a big fight. It's a tough fight. Marc Leach is a good boxer. So I'm just fully focused and looking forward to enjoying the whole scenario, because in years to come, looking back, I'm sure I will be proud of myself. But at the minute, I'm just a hungry young lad chasing my dream, and it's all about the 11th and beating Marc Leach and taking the British title from him.
We'll come on to Marc Leach in just a moment, but just last one, and fighting in Telford and having that support. Have you noticed the difference? Sort of walking about, going to the shops, and that sort of more well wishing from the man in the street compared to the other fights.
It's always been well. I've always been treated well and highly respected because people know the work I've put in, and a lot of people have seen me grow into the man I am now. So I've always been well, but yeah, it's a lot of wishing well and good luck for the fight, and they can see that I've put the hard work in, and they know, like I know, I deserve this.
It must be sort of so rewarding for that hard work to sort of come to fruition in that. So it feels as if you're one of the fighters who just like either side of like COVID and lockdowns and that just sort of exploded. We sort of spoke briefly before we started recording about when you fought Sean Cairns for the English. That was your sort of breakthrough fight on like a big TV show. Before that, as you say, you were on the sort of small hall scene. Just have you been able to soak it all in? Just coming out now, we've got our freedom, and you're suddenly signing with Frank Warren, British title fights. Like who knows what in the future?
Yeah, things are going well at the minute, and it did take a turn. It was a long time coming, and it was hard work doing the small hall shows, waiting for an opportunity, but it come, I took it, I passed the test, and I got another test ahead of me, so I'm looking forward to passing it again. And I love a challenge. I train hard, I'm fit, I eat well, I do everything necessary, which years ago I didn't, and now I got the understanding of this can change my life, and I've seen a glimpse of it. Yeah, it has changed my life, so I just want more now, and I got to keep climbing and winning and beating anyone, any champion or whoever they put in front of me.
We're on to the man who's going to be standing on the other side of that ring on Saturday night, Marc Leach. He's on a fantastic run at the moment. Big Cash Shafak, Thomas Asomba, most recently Chris Burr. I think it's probably fair to say, would you say Marc's going to be the toughest fight of your career to date?
Yeah, he is the toughest on paper for sure, but this is the best I've prepared. This has come at the right time for me, and the challenge that is on the horizon couldn't come at a better time for me. So I'm ready for the challenge, and I believe that the better opposition in front of me, I will raise my game like I have in training. I've smashed every target that I would ever done before, and I'm in a position that if you told me years ago I'd be like this, I wouldn't have believed it. So I just believe that this is the time for me to have a good challenge and fight the British champion, because the best way to win a British title is against the champion.
I mentioned a few of Marc's sort of previous fights there. The most recent of those was obviously the one where he picked up the British title against Chris Burr. Did you watch that fight? What did you make of it?
I did watch the fight, yeah. I had him to win before the fight. If I was a betting man, I would have betted on Leach to win. But yeah, he boxed well. He's done what he's had to do. He's awkward. He's tricky. He's had some good wins, but I believe I'd beat these people. So it's my toughest fight, but I'm more than ready. Honestly, I'm just so ready to fight. So confident that I can do it. Just counting down the days now.
You mentioned the sort of awkwardness of Marc, and he has got quite a unique style. He's quite elusive. He's quite hard to hit. Has that been a sort of focus in camp and in the sparring you're getting, trying to find people who can sort of replicate elements of Marc's game?
Yes, it's something that I've focused on. I've been sparring a lot of southpaws, a lot of people that switch and dip low and just try and be awkward. And you can't rush him because he will pick you apart like he did with Bork. So I'm going to come with a different approach, and I'm going to make sure that I'm on my A game, and whatever I have to do on the night, I'm going to do.
One thing that you certainly have in this fight, you have quite a few physical advantages. You're a lot taller than Marc. I think you're listed as 5'11", he's 5'6". I'm not sure what the reaches are, but I assume you'd have the advantage there as well. Do you think that's sort of key to success in this fight, is implementing the physical advantages you do have in there?
Yeah, I'm a lot taller, a lot bigger, and I believe a lot stronger. So you've always got to use your advantages, haven't you? But you've got to manipulate their advantages. and that's what I'm coming to do. Take away what he does well away from him, and knock this confidence out of him that he has built up over the wins he's had, and rightly so. But it's my job to knock this confidence and knock the run away from him now.
In the sort of last 6 months, you've had a lot of like back and forth, not back and forth, but sort of called out a few different fighters in the Frank Warren stable. You've got, Jason Cunningham, obviously fighting for the European in July, I think it is. Dennis McCann, obviously fighting for a WBC international title. One man you seem to have a bit of beef with was Andrew Kane. It looked as if that fight could be potentially made for the English title. He had some sort of out of nowhere, some quite harsh words for you. Is that still a fight that interests you down the line? I think Andrew, was it called you a lizard or something like that?
Yeah, of course. They all interest me, don't they? They're all big fights, and I want to leave the boxing my career and think I fought everyone. I don't want to miss any opportunities. And it's the fight with Andrew's been made twice and cancelled twice. One with him having COVID and one with my shoulder. So it's one of them. They will happen down the line, but they're all irrelevant at the minute because I got a tougher fight than them all in Marc Leach. And that's what I'm going to do Saturday, prove, because I think I got some proving to do against some people, as I ain't fought in 6 months and out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. And Saturday night, I'll remind them what I'm about.
I'm sure that acts as a bit of like extra motivation, not that you need anyone. I watched an interview with you there, Liam, where you sort of said that you accepted that a lot of these fights were 50-50 fights and some people might be picking against you, but you were always ready to jump in. You were ready to take that risk. Do you think that's almost a problem we see in boxing? I'm not saying that any boxers are scared, but maybe promoters or managers or trainers are sort of scared to put their fighters in these riskier fights, whereas you've got the likes of yourselves, you're just ready to jump in and take that risk. Yeah,
it happens. It does happen. And it's hard for me because I don't really understand it. Do you know what I mean? I don't understand how it works or why, because me and my manager are different. We'd fight anyone and we know that we're capable of beating anyone. So it's hard for me to understand and get my head around that people don't fight each other. But I'm sure it's going to happen with fighters where they do avoid people. But is it them or their manager? It's just, you never know. And it's one thing I just can't put my thumb on myself.
Do you think this sort of obsession with, the unblemished record is sort of having a detrimental effect on modern day boxing? I mean, you look at some of the greats of like the last 30, 40 years, Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Robertson, Roberto Duran, they all had, loads and loads of defeats, but are still sort of regarded as, the best fighters ever. Whereas now it's like, we would almost see these prospects and guys coming up rather face sort of lesser opposition and, take those big fights and those are the ones at the end of the day that's going to sort of cement your legacy in the sport.
Yeah, and it does yourself no favours. You've got to fight the best to be the best. I'm a big believer in, and one loss you ain't going to define you, is it? So as long as you go in there, you show what you're about and a bit of bottle, then I think people respect you more than avoiding these big fights. So I'd advise anyone to step up and go for it, because you lose a lot worse things in life than just a boxing match.
Definitely. So Liam, you're sort of established now at domestic level. There's a big fight taking place in your weight class, sort of at the upper end at world level, between Stephen Fulton and Daniel Roman. I've always sort of wondered, you would say yourself that you're 26, you've got time to reach that level, but the minute you're obviously again focused on that Marc on Saturday. But as a fighter at domestic level, do you always keep an eye on what's going on with the sort of top dogs in the division? You'll keep tabs on them for that level that you do hope to eventually reach?
Yeah, of course I do, because that's where I'm coming. That's who I'm coming for, the top lads. And once I dealt with what I need to deal with, British level and whoever else European, I'm ready for them, because that's what it's all about, a world title. And I want to push as far as I can go, and I'm a big believer in myself and that I can fight these lads, no problem.
No, well, we're all looking forward to the journey, mate. All the best for Saturday night. Really appreciate you giving us a bit of your time today, and yeah, looking forward to tuning in, mate. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Cheers.